listening to Movie Reviews and More with Brian Sebastian, only on LA Talk Radio.
Well, this is going to be an interesting show. This is Movie Reviews and More. We are live around the world, especially in Denmark, Germany, and the UK. For all the fans out there, we have a special guest today, which is really, really good, from around the country, which is even more exciting. Regular co-host back again, Natalie Sky. You know her from Sons of Anarchy, MMA girl. what was that? Ring Girl. We can't forget that. Yeah. But you see her all over the place. Good friend of hers, and you know him, Chris Reed, obviously. Hey, say hi, Chris Reed, obviously.
Hello, Chris Reed.
And you know him from Justified, Sons of Anarchy, and many other things out there. Brad Lane, Cannabis Planet. One of the other things that he's done is Celebrity Connected Gifting Suites. Put a lot of his friends together like this. This is the more part of Movie Reviews and More. Also a filmmaker, too. And he's kind of shy today. No,
Greetings.
He's not.
Greetings and salutations.
And my good friend, I hadn't seen her in a long time. You know, I saw her last year, and I hadn't seen her for years before that, Lucretia Dillard. She's finally out of the Army, 8 years. I'm proud to see her. I'm proud to call her as my good friend, and she's an excellent singer, too. So here we are talking about everything going on with stuff. Let's start with, all right, Natalie, what's been going on with you? Because we're first of all, we're entering a retrograde, so all kinds of crap has been happening, first of all. Whether you believe it or not, it has been.
I just finished my sound healing teacher training this weekend. So that was amazing, super magical. I'm so pumped up.
Good. And you're still working on your jewelry, because I was telling a couple people about that.
Still, having auditions, still trucking along.
Good.
Waiting for the next exciting, part to come out.
And you can tell she's real excited about it.
I'm more excited about the sound baths right now.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's really, really good. Yeah. Chris, what's been happening with you?
I won the Seven Kingdoms this weekend, playing Game of Thrones, the board game, before we watched the episode of the television program, and that was great. What else do I got going on? Auditions. I've auditioned for 4 medieval commercials in the past week.
That's interesting.
So I found my type, and that's what's been happening.
Good. Brad?
We've been in production this summer, so Cannabis Planet is coming back to the broadcast television airwaves this fall. October 1st is our launch date. Well, it'll be September 3rd. When's that Saturday? September 30th is Saturday, and the 1st of October is Sunday, I believe.
Okay, he's trying to figure out stuff, because tell him what you had.
I mean, I don't have every date in my head. I should. We've spoken a little bit of a vape, but, dates, times, it's all just, we're all moving around the sun, right? Speaking of which, there's some celestial activity coming up that I'm very excited about that everyone should know. Mm-hmm. There will be a total solar eclipse of the sun on the 21st of August.
Absolutely, yeah.
Hasn't happened on our continent since 1918. Won't happen again since 2050. So basically a once-in-a-lifetime gig to check out. I strongly suggest you make it to the Path of Totality, which is from Oregon to South Carolina. And then there will be a meteor shower coming up in August that's pretty awesome as well.
A lot of spiritual stuff going on, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Lucretia, welcome here. She's staying in Casper, Wyoming now, which is interesting.
And cold.
Yeah.
And
it's
cold right now?
Glad to be out of the Army, too,
Sometimes, yeah, at night it's cold. Oh, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to say, I miss it.
What was your rank in the Army?
I was a specialist.
She had what you would call her bitch. This big-ass gun. Yeah, she never went anywhere without.
Yeah, if you stood it on the ground, it was as tall as I was. But it had a little handle, and I was always like, I'm not going to get knocked out and drug off going to the restroom at 12 in the morning. So I would just take her with me. I'd go take her in the shower and take a shower and disassemble her and clean her and put her back together, and we'd dry off together. It was very romantic.
I put the photo up of her here with her big ass bitch, which is what she
my
called
bitch.
it.
So 249?
240 Bravo.
240. Okay, so that's 30 caliber, right?
She was sexy.
Oh,
she was sexy.
Big and sexy.
That's so intimidating. Oh my God.
Yeah. Hey, the photos are up there. But you know what? She also has a story of going through stuff. Iraq, Afghanistan,
Who doesn't?
right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But one of the things I wanted to talk about on the more segment of things is marijuana goes mainstream. Now, when it comes to Cannabis Planet, you've been talking about stuff like this for a long time, Brad, haven't you?
Yeah, we created the show. I created the show back in 2009, and we went into production, and at the time it was, considered a pretty edgy topic. There were 14 states where cannabis, there was 14 states where cannabis was legal medicinally, and we just thought that we should get the information out there. We've been called the 2020 of 420. We're a 30-minute television show, and we interview various people. Our platform is food, fuel, fiber, and medicine. So we're kind of an extension of Jack Herer's work with The Emperor Wears No Clothes. And even though cannabis has gone mainstream and maybe on the cover of Time magazine, but DirecTV and Dish Network still are banning my show from broadcast. So how mainstream has it gone?
That makes absolutely no sense either, does it?
Well, it's a maddening thing. I mean, you have shows that have come a long way, and cannabis is in the mainstream. We do $7.2 billion in commerce right now between recreational and medical cannabis. Yet you're talking about an industry that's not allowed to bank.
Yep.
The projections are 17% growth, $50 billion by 2025. I mean, it's outstanding, but astounding. But the reality is that's just talking about cannabis as a medicine, and it's the industrial applications of the plant is the reason it was prohibited in the first place. So we haven't even scratched the surface with what the plant can do as just what Jack Herer's work, as a fabric, as a fuel, as a fiber, as a food. The medicine's amazing and diverse. We have an endocannabinoid system in our bodies, but the plant is just something that needs to be embraced. So we're getting mainstream, but there's a big pushback. It's always about following the money. In the industrial age, it was the robber barons, the paper with Hearst, and nylon with DuPont. So now alcohol is pushing back, big tobacco is pushing back, big pharma is pushing back, because cannabis is known to eat into their market share immediately.
Yep.
The industrial stuff will come later. So it's interesting times right now.
All right, so me, as that non-smoker, I always wanted to talk about the health benefits of what everybody has been experiencing. I mean, we talked about this, Natalie. Why do you like to smoke, or whatever you do? What's the benefits for you?
For me, it helps with anxiety, helps me with sleeping, helps me to just kind of takes the edge off, just lets me kind of relax a little bit.
And a lot of people have problems with sleeping. Talking about you sleeping. If you're in the military, coming back and trying to adjust to things, having nightmares and things like that. They give you all kinds of medications, and then you don't know what to do, and they don't mix, do they?
No, sometimes it's lethal. It's poison. I mean, you yourself, as the soldier, needs to pay attention. I mean, you can't just trust that every doctor knows what every doctor's doing. And it's very difficult. You're going from using one thing to solve many problems, and you're taking all these things and jumbling them together. This is different because it's one thing to solve many issues.
Well, if I could just chime in, you made a great point. And people would think that cannabis is a snake oil because it's how can it be good for so many different things? The answer is the endocannabinoid system. Endo means within, cannabinoid are the compounds of the plant. Every mammal has an endocannabinoid system in our bodies. So when we ingest cannabis, the cannabinoids, THC and CBD, are probably the two most popular cannabinoids that people have heard about, but there's hundreds of others. And we need more double-blind studies to study this plant as a medicine. But the reason it can be so good for spasticity or a sleep aid or menstrual cramps or nausea is we have an endocannabinoid system within our bodies, and when we use cannabis, it fits like a receptor, like a key in a lock.
They need to educate everyone to know this so that, to make it less simplistic.
We're trying.
Well, here's one thing that actually worked. I mean, where we met was at Celebrity Connected Gifting Suite. These were the boxes that Brad put together with a bunch of his friends. And I liked how you did everything. I mean,
Chris and I missed that one.
They smell
Well,
delicious.
let me just make one more point about the medicine, if I may. I use cannabis for ADHD. Okay, I'm a hyperactive guy. It calms me down. When I was in Montessori preschool, at nap time, when the other children were laid down for naps, I was instructed to go to the playground and run laps.
Interesting.
That's a true story. And I was also a scholarship football player. I think my athletic career started back then. But the reality is that we live in a pretty compassionate society. You can take the most conservative Republican that hates weed, hates it. But if someone needs to use it for cancer, there's some compassion there. It's okay. But if I want to use it for my ADHD, or you want to use it for sleep,
You're
just
evil.
stoners.
You're
So
It's not
useless.
even that at the federal level these days, though. Jeff Sessions has shown hostility to its use in almost any context.
Of course, and all I'm humbly pointing out is that big pharma, and it's all about the money trail. You look at a commercial for Ambien, there's 20 seconds where they have to read off the side effects by law, and there's side effects as long as your arm, as long as the day, and one of those is suicidal tendencies.
Exactly.
I don't want to take a drug that's going to have me sleepwalking with suicidal tendencies when I have an herb from the ground, from the creator.
It's an accepted poison.
So I would rather use an herbal medicine like cannabis to go to sleep than big pharma. And until everyone can realize that, we've got work to do, and that's why we produce the show.
I've got a friend who has Crohn's disease. How does it help someone with Crohn's?
Crohn's, I just got off the phone with a guy who has Crohn's, and I apologize. Where's Dr. Courtney when you need him? I wish I could answer that intelligently, but it's amazing for Crohn's. It's part of the spasticity thing. I think it somehow calms down their esophagus, and it helps them with the acid reflux, and their internal organs. Like, there's a kid named Colton. It's Colton's Cure, and he was bedridden in a wheelchair. You should have Wendy, his parents, and you should have all of them on your show, because they would be able to answer that in a professional manner, because it was their ailment. The kid was literally in a wheelchair at 13. I met him just this past summer, and they drove up his whole family. And you're Colton? The kid now grown to be 16. He was strong and strapping, and they swear that cannabis has been the only medicine that has benefited him, and it's cured him 100%.
Which cannabis product?
It's a CBD-enriched product. They have a blend. There's some THC in the mix, and they worked very closely with they worked with a geneticist to come up with a blend that and that's the thing. Everyone's cannabinoid receptor system is different. It's a weird thing. So you have an herbal plant, and that's why it's been such a hard pushback, because the government can't figure out a way to harness it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's not one size doesn't fit all when it comes to cannabis as medicine. And that doesn't bode well with big pharma. They're used to a one-size-fits-all. We've done the research. We want the patents. We want control over this drug, and that's one of the biggest problems. Is back to following the money. So, it's back to it is anecdotal. And my friend that has Crohn's disease literally called me just before we went on stage, and he is new to cannabis and he's afraid of it. He's my age. I went to school. I played sports with him in high school. And he just comes from a culture within his family that cannabis is bad, and people that use cannabis are bad. So he just really, really, really was hard for him to and he's part of his lower intestine's been removed.
Wow.
So I referred him to Wendy, and now they've got him on a regimen, and he was calling me to say, hey, these pills are making me freak out. It was too much for him. So he knows he needs it as a medicine, but the hallucinogenic effect of what he's taking was a little strong for him. So we're trying to figure out if he needs to just learn to deal with the hallucinogenic effects, or scale the dosage back, or most likely a combination thereof. Because no one's ever died from cannabis. So it's like, ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
No, you know what? In a laboratory, to kill a laboratory rat, it takes 20 pounds of cannabis from 20 feet. And that's what it takes to kill the rat. It's not ingested.
Well, it's funny.
Cannabis smoke.
It talked about this in the Time magazine of marijuana goes to mainstream. It said the exact same thing. I mean, as that person who's a non-smoker, yes, a black guy who doesn't smoke, there's one of us at least, that's me. But you know what? I want to learn these things, because who's to say, and I joke to my friends, who's to say 10 years from now I won't be diabetic or have high blood pressure or something. I'm not used to taking, I don't get headaches. So all my friends have something, so it drives me nuts. So if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do something. And I think it would probably be one of the edibles. So I don't know yet.
I just came from Las Vegas at the Las Vegas Cannabis Summit, and there was a panel specifically about athletes in cannabis. And there was an ex-NFL athlete, an ex-NHL athlete, an ex-NBA athlete, and an MMA guy. And they all were there to give firsthand testimony to the healing properties of the plant, how it had helped them in their careers to heal from injury and protect them from head trauma.
Does it do anything with inflammation? Because I know
Absolutely.
A lot of sports stars have that
Absolutely, but it's more. They were really talking about the head trauma scenario. So everything we've been told about cannabis is a lie. So you've been told cannabis kills your brain cells, right? Well, the reality is it creates neurogenesis. Stimulates new brain cells.
Well, it goes into that old scenario of
direct
just say
opposite.
no.
Yeah.
So a lot of that came from the Reagan era, but they tried to sequester a lot of stuff back in the 70s. Actually, Nixon tried to do that when it came to stuff. And again, I'm coming from the business point of view of the things that I know, not from that person who is smoking. So I don't care. But again, get your facts straight at least.
It's just like when you tell a scary story to your kids so they won't go do something dumb. It's the same thing. So they just start out telling these scary, scary stories about how awful this horrifying drug was. And so it just got drilled into everybody's minds.
Well, what bothers me, Chris, and stuff, is when I'm driving and I get stopped by a cop. You got any drugs? And I'm the guy who doesn't do drugs. Why are you really stopping me?
Well, just go into one specific application. You were talking about an NFL player, Eugene Monroe.
Not personally, but I know of him.
Yeah, he's doing amazing work. He's almost single-handedly, moving the NFL's, I guess, needle towards accepting it.
Absolutely, Athletes for Care. I believe he's one of the founders of, and that's
sounds right.
So they put these bunch of athletes together. It's called Athletes for Care. It's to help athletes transition out of pro sports, not just cannabis, but just to help them transition out of pro sports in general. And
That's
cannabis, of course it is. And so cannabis as a health aid is a big part of that.
Oh, wow.
Hey, I want to go into, for now, Natalie, give your website so people who are watching, so they can actually look up what we're doing.
It's nataliesky.com. That's with 2 Y's, SKYY.
And Chris, how do people reach out to you?
Chris Reed 619 on Twitter, Instagram, Spacetime. No, that's not what it's called. Snapchat.
He's spaced out right now.
Yeah, you can find me on Spacetime.
What is this new thing? Yay!
I'd like to
Do you know
copyright
something
that
we
right
don't
now.
I know. There's the real story.
And Brad?
We're CannabisPlanet.com, and Twitter, Facebook, and Snapchat are all Cannabis Planet TV, as in television.
Yeah. And Lucretia. I know.
I'm always with you, Brian.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
yeah, I
wherever
know.
Wait, if you find Brian, you find Lucretia.
Chris, do you like to smoke? What do you like to do? You vape, smoke, what?
Mostly smoke. Mostly
Okay.
just raw plant,
And what does it do for you? Why did you start?
I started due to insomnia.
Oh.
I had been kind of fried out on working on sport fishing boats, staying up all night. So it was really hard for me to sleep, and it was the first thing I had turned to because I wasn't going to take a pill, and it worked immediately. So it's been a part of my life ever since.
Brad, you talked about how you started and everything like that.
Well, I did, but I did. I mean, I guess let me clarify. I didn't realize that I was self-medicating with cannabis until I started doing my research for Cannabis Planet in 2008 and 9. So every cannabis activist I've ever met has got some sort of an axe to grind. They had a parent that was dying of cancer that wouldn't use the medicine. They got arrested and couldn't get a loan or couldn't get a job or something along those lines. Me, I just was I was tired of being labeled a stoner. I was tired of not being taken seriously or legitimately by my peer group because I smoked weed. God, look how much weed you smoke. You're smoking more weed? Man, you smoke a lot of weed. Well, I just smoked weed because it made me feel good. So I smoke a lot of weed. But when I started doing the research for my show, I realized, holy Christ, the reason I smoke so much weed is that I'm self-medicating, and it makes me in a nice, groovy, tolerable place for other people. If I'm not smoking weed, they're like, dude, why don't you go take some weed?
Yeah.
My ends are just idles.
You need more.
And then the reality of that Montessori thing came flooding back to me. Holy shit. They're making me run laps in preschool at nap time. I guess that's just how I'm wired as a person. And they tried to have me on Adderall and whatnot. So the bottom line is that when I started doing the research for the show, I realized that I was using it as a medicine. And I realized the diversity of the medicine. And, a lot of doctors don't even know what an endocannabinoid system is.
Isn't that interesting?
It's wild. It's not interesting, it's sad, but it's true. We could line up 20 doctors. We walk into the closest hospital here and line up 20 doctors and ask them about the endocannabinoid system. And I'd be curious to see. And back in 2009, I can guarantee you, not a one of them, maybe 1 in 20. Today, maybe there will be a handful.
I'm doing that now. I'm going to do that now. Now that you said
let's
that,
just ask him.
it sounds so, yeah.
You know, just for that. I mean, you'd be
Interesting
surprised.
research.
I mean,
yeah.
even Sanjay Gupta, he's about to become the Attorney
Yes.
General. He didn't know. He never saw one research paper. He's a shill for big pharma. He's a shit. That whole weeds that they put out, the whole weeds 1, weeds 2. That's nothing more than a propaganda film by big government saying, "Get ready, we're about to take over this market."
But then he changed his mind.
No, that's what I'm trying to say. Him
Yes.
changing his mind
Yeah.
was the hustle of the takeover.
Right.
And if anyone watched that, go back and watch it.
I did.
They show this guy, and he's the genealogist. He's making the medicine. He's got tattoos up and down his arms, and they just give him this whole like scary vibe, like, "Oh, this is Jim. He's making." And there's some sound bites. "Oh, I just experimented with the different phenotypes and came up with something that worked good for me." And they just give this whole thing, like they show him in the kitchen with the crock pot, and it's like, "Is that the guy you want making your medicine? Looks a little scary." And then they go in this whole thing.
And that was the point.
Yeah, that's the whole point. So it's like, "Oh, weed's good, but we've got to make it. We've got to dole it out to you." That's what that whole special was about. So Gupta doing this 180, it's like, really? You're a doctor and you're about to become the Surgeon General, and you not one research paper on cannabis ever crossed your desk, buddy? I find that hard to believe.
Right.
All right, Lucretia, so being
Impossible.
deployed above, overseas, what's that like when you've got the pressure of what's going on back home, but you're also defending your country, and then you're deployed there for a year or whatever? The stuff that probably goes to people's heads. And then being a woman.
It's almost impossible to put a graph on it. But I can tell you that, I mean, it's so bad that when we come back for years after that, we can't sleep. Our mind just continues to run. Even we try to shut our bodies down, it just keeps going, because that's the mindset you're in. I mean, as a soldier, you run 24-hour missions or whatever the case may be. You may have no sleep, You've got to find places to pee. You may not be able to stop. So what I'm saying is, when you get home and then you're living life with your kids and you're going to work, well, when you get home, your body won't stop.
Right.
It just runs.
And then, we're all in the I almost said adult industry, scratch that. We're all in the entertainment industry.
And
so,
we're all adults here.
Yes. Good call. But you know
Nice
what?
save.
The pressures of being on set, the pressures of always working and trying to find that next job, being that filmmaker, because you're also a filmmaker, imagine what goes to people's heads. I've got to watch so many films, my head should be spinning, but so far, so good so far.
Well,
Advice.
I mean,
Sure?
I'm very pro cannabis. I mean, everyone needs something in their life to get them through the day. That could be meditation, that could be exercise,
Yep.
that could be caffeine, it could be nicotine, it could be alcohol. Everyone's got their own mix that's right for them. For me, I like to ingest cannabis, and as it turns out, I've been protecting my body from Alzheimer's. I've been generating new
Yeah.
brain cells. I'm a lucky guy that I have been. And that's what this NFL and NHL athletes were telling me over the weekend. They're telling me that, this guy Riley Cote was the enforcer for the Phillies. I mean, for the Philadelphia Flyers. Phillies baseball, right? So the Flyers are the hockey team. He was the enforcer. He led the league in penalty minutes. And he's telling me that, guys he skated with don't seem to be real eloquent and sharp from their, their head traumas and their fights and being crashed up against the wall.
Concussions.
Exactly. And he, on the other hand, is, luckily, has not felt those effects. He's a very, very eloquent guy. Never went to college. He's incredibly eloquent, well-spoken guy. And he credits the fact that he thinks it was because he was smoking weed the whole time.
Interesting.
Sometimes it's okay to not follow
You look
blindly.
at the science. You look at the science, and the science backs it. But the same thing with me. I played college football. So I didn't have the ability to make it to the NFL. But when I played college football in the early 80s, I mean, we had spring practice. We had 20 days of full-blown contact every drill. I mean, I've been in more train wrecks. They say the average hit of an offensive lineman in a play in the NFL is a 30-mile-an-hour car crash. Mm-hmm. Well, I played free safety, so I needed a running start to hit people, and I was the wedge breaker on the kickoff. So I'd run 60 yards as fast as I could and dive headfirst into guys that were bigger than me. I mean, literally like diving into a wall. Over and over and over and over. And what were we talking about again? No, I seem pretty gay. No, I seem, I'm blessed the fact that I don't have any sort of those type of ill effects from concussion and repetitive blows to the head. Although I did go to a holistic doctor once, and he was doing these things. He said, "Have you been hit in the head?" And I was like, "Excuse me?" He said, "Have you been hit in the head?" I said, "Well, I played football." He goes, "Yeah, you've been hit in the head a lot." So who knows?
Well, you think about concussions.
That blew my mind. The holistic
Again,
Yeah.
concussions, even in soccer, all that stuff. You don't think about that. What are the little kids doing now playing soccer, right?
Of course.
What's, in your opinion, what's the minimum age that kids, if they have problems, can either be smoking or ingesting stuff? What have you found out?
Well, again, it's back to the hype. From the very beginning, they need it. If they have like Dravet syndrome or epilepsy or something, give them cannabis now. Forget this CBD only stuff. We need whole plant medicine. CBD is amazing, but so is THC.
Well, sure, if you need it, but research is pretty clear that it's not great for a teenage brain, a developing brain.
For certain, but if what I'm saying is, if you have a kid, like for instance, I'll go with the guy that I know, Jason David.
Well,
Jaden
absolutely.
David,
Like
right?
you said,
So his
the first
kid,
thing you said was prefaced it with those in need.
Yeah, not
Absolutely.
just your average teenager.
precisely.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying are you saying smoking recreationally? Or are you saying as a medicine?
Right,
I'm always
right.
going from the medical point of view.
So my thing is this, and I'm not a doctor, but we're given big. There's all sorts of medicines that these kids are being given that have got to be a hell of a lot worse than THC.
Yeah, they're poison.
In my humble estimation. So I'm not saying that THC is good for a developing brain, but if you're having spasticity and you have Dravet syndrome and you're having 100 seizures a day, I think it's worth the risk.
And when it comes to the seizures and stuff like that, that's when, yes.
So that would be my, and each parent has to decide what's best for them, and that's where this whole marijuana refugee thing comes in, right? These, like the Colton Cure people, they are from Illinois.
Yeah.
They had to uproot their whole family and move to Colorado. Think about that. Well, that's what they need to do. It's legal there. Yeah, they did, but can you imagine leaving all of your family and friends behind and picking up your whole family and moving across the country because of the draconian policies of our government?
So you can take medicine.
The government that owns 4 patents on this plant as a medicine, yet has it listed as a Schedule 1.
Yes,
Schedule 1
exactly.
drug means that has not one iota of medicinal property to it. So until the government can explain that hypocrisy alone, I think there's some questions to be answered.
Well, today, Cory Booker, Senator of New Jersey, introduced on the floor a bill to legalize it. So,
Yeah.
And I saw that. In terms of your PTSD stuff, there's a bipartisan bill in the House right now that will allow the VA to recommend medical cannabis to veterans without them being in risk of losing their benefits. And they'll have to live in a state where the laws are in place and they can get their cannabis. And that's
This is an exciting day
It's a
for me.
bipartisan bill that's in the House right now.
So exciting for me right now.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so think about
That's
this.
amazing.
Just last week.
That's amazing. That's
Well,
amazing.
do you guys,
So we're making progress.
do you guys know which
but-
states
Education.
still are illegal?
Education.
Yeah, I should know this.
Georgia?
I'm going to guess Mississippi.
Everywhere I've lived for the
There's
past
only 4.
8 years.
No,
There's
there's
only
7.
4 states. 7?
There's 7.
Okay.
So Georgia,
Wyoming.
Idaho. Idaho might have a medical law now. They have a CBD only law in Idaho.
Oklahoma. Oklahoma's the other one.
Every state I've lived in for like the past 8 years.
That
Very
map
sad.
is not right. And what I mean by that is that there's a lot of states that have put in these CBD only laws,
Right.
Because it was the flavor of the month.
Yeah.
There's no THC in here. It's good for the kids. There's no THC. And now let's just calm everyone down. We have medical cannabis laws. So the states where there's CBD only laws, I think there's a lot of reworking for those medical programs where it needs to be full plant medicine.
So is there still a lot of problem, like as far as stings and stuff, even though it's legal? I mean, do you guys have any of those issues, like in shops?
Well,
and
we
things
don't.
Like
I mean, I don't run a shop. I just produce a TV show. But yeah, I mean, it's like the people. Do you want to address that? I mean, people are being raided all the time.
The federal government had a thing, and under the Obama administration, it was a memo that said as long as states contribute towards the federal government's efforts to enforce illegal drugs under their policies, they will not target states that have medical laws in place.
The Holder Memorandum, is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, it's something like that. But that's endangered under the Trump administration.
Right.
So
Right,
we
yeah.
don't know. It could change.
Jeff Sessions just came back saying he wants to bring back privatized prisons with full force because why? Because he plans on arresting people. So it's a shit show right now, and there's also these crazy laws going on the East Coast right now There's groups that are lobbying to put these vape-only laws on the books. It's a power play is what's going on with big money and background dealings. There's a lot of ways. All you have to do is follow the money. So who knows where the face of cannabis is going to go? But one thing's for certain: full-blown legalization is around the corner, and the robber barons are just trying to figure out how to divvy up the pie. It's as simple as that.
I want to know who's going to be the first bank to open up and where. That's what I want to know.
I heard something on public radio about this a couple days ago. Here in Los Angeles, there's an effort underway to create a bank of cannabis for cannabis companies to have a secure way to move their money.
How do we know it's going to be secure? How do we know that the government won't come in and take that money out of there? How do we know?
I don't know that, but I know.
But that's the question.
It's an effort that's happening right now. They're trying to figure it out, at least here in California.
Yeah.
So it's a movement forward. That's always positive. Yeah.
That's what I see in the cannabis world. Is just nothing but progress moving forward in one direction. And the quicker, like, we convince everybody that that's the case, I feel like the faster the walls will fall.
Yeah.
And you hit it on the head. The quicker we can educate people, the quicker the walls will fall. Mm-hmm. I just came back from Vegas, as I mentioned. We were at a conference. Last I checked, recreational cannabis became legal in Vegas on July 1st. Yet, you can't take it into any hotels. You can't have it in the casino.
Interesting.
We
But
couldn't.
you can smoke cigarettes in the casino, huh?
Imagine you couldn't. You can drink alcohol like a fish anywhere. You couldn't smoke it at the venue we were having the conference at. So we went out.
Carry it on you?
We went out in the parking lot to try to smoke some in the 105-degree heat. And I'm talking with like an entourage of 7-8 people, ex-NFL, ex-NHL athletes, doctors, lawyers, cannabis activists. So we start getting yelled at by the guy that's running the parking lot. So we all shuffle 40 yards down in the 105-degree heat behind a building that he's suggested we stand behind that'll be acceptable in his. Now, bear in mind the guy's got no teeth. He's he's ordering us around. Okay,
Cannabis bad.
And there's nothing wrong with no teeth. He just was like he wasn't like he was a police officer or something. Just some guy watching this parking lot. So our entourage shuffles down to the area.
He's on a power trip.
Yeah.
Now we're all smoking some cannabis.
In
105-degree heat. And it was great. There's 7 or 8 of us. We got about 7 joints going. We're all passing. We're talking. We're laughing about what just happened. And boy, it's legal, but it's not. We're all in the back of the bus. And next thing you know, John Law decides to visit us. So we're in this chain link fence. And then there's a little area and another chain link fence. And the cop just pulls up. So he can't get to us. He's a couple chain link fences over. And he just pulls up and, we have a stare down. And so it's like, and the group I was with all felt like they were 16 again, and they all kind of cops, and they all scattered, and we like lemmings. We walked very quickly back around the thing and then back into the building, and I defiantly was the last to leave my position on the wall with my joint still in hand, and gave him a dirty look, and then took my place as a lemming. And he didn't come and pursue us. So was there a day when the cop would probably come up and try to arrest us all? Yeah. Has things softened up? Yeah. I'm a 54-year-old man. If I want to use an herb to alter my level of perception, forget medicine. If I want to alter my level of perception in a state where it's been voted in, where Sodom and Gomorrah has been compared to Las Vegas, it's just to me it's very restricting. And so the propaganda that was done when Prohibition went down in 1937 with Harry Aslinger and that whole reefer madness mentality permeates to this day. People are scared of weed, and weed is discriminated against, and weed is looked down upon. A lot of people like cannabis, and they like weed, but God forbid you want to smoke some in public, or even in an area designed only for people who want to smoke it in public.
All right, the fun thing about this educational part about things like that is Brad Lane and I and Brad Parks and another guy, Gene, we all met, and it was Brad Lane that told me the difference of hemp and cannabis. And that's why I said, this guy knows his stuff. I was intrigued by what he knew, and I like that because I didn't know there was a difference. Nobody ever told me. So again, it goes back to the educational factor of stuff. And then, having this at a Celebrity Connected Gifting Suite where there's lines around the corner and there's actually the doctor there and the chef there, who I think that chef is pretty cool.
Chef Mike, yeah, he's
Exactly.
a popular guy. The thing
Natalie,
is,
you like him.
I didn't know, when I first was, Jack Hare, The Emperor Wears No Clothes. I read that book in 1989. Hemp can save the planet. What the hell is hemp? Hemp is the male side of the cannabis plant. They're cousins, I suppose. There's 3% or less THC in hemp. But it is the magic of the plant for mankind. I mean, hemp, in 1937, right before it was prohibited, Popular Mechanics magazine had a feature on hemp, touting it as the next billion-dollar crop.
That's right.
So I'm not a mathematician, but what's $1 billion and 37 worth for inflation today? So the best source of omega-3, 6, and 9 fatty acids on Earth, it's not from fish oil, it's from the hemp seed. There's not the mercury poisoning that's going on with the fish. So it's a sustainable, renewable resource we can grow and cut down, grow and cut down. Paper. Why are we cutting down old-growth forests to make paper when we have a renewable resource like hemp? Well, Weyerhaeuser wants their market share. Fine. Let them keep their market share. Let's work with the governments, have them retool their factories to make hemp paper, and leave the trees alone. So
You should put a little fact sheet in here. That would be interesting.
yeah, well, we have
When you
one.
open it,
We
it's
have a
got-
little
you
fact
do.
sheet. Yeah, sure.
They got
We have,
everything in there. Hey,
we
show
have-
the audience
we
a
have,
couple
Turn it
things that's in
around.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is
turn it around.
the hemp kitchen delivery box is we have a medicine chest and we have a hemp side. So the hemp side is nothing but hemp products,
It
hemp
smells
foods. Cosmetics and food made of hemp that can go anywhere
That's great for your
worldwide.
skin.
No THC. But then we have a lot of great THC products in here as well that various vendors came along. We have Derby Bakery with some edibles. We've got the Garden Society with an edible, Canaclear with a vape pen, some great flowers from Humboldt County, Honeydew Farms, and Redwood Roots Family, and of course some amazing topical cream.
I find all this stuff quite
Yeah,
interesting.
that's
Canaderm USA with some amazing topical cream. I had a buddy of mine, a 70-year-old man, came over to my house. His wife had this product that I'd given him to give to her because he hasn't used cannabis, and he showed me this thing on the back of his Achilles, and it was kind of a
Was it
it
eczema?
was a
eczema?
yeah, it was something. I don't know what it was. He had said he had something there that was raw and bothering him forever. Nothing worked, and he rubbed some of this on there, and it went away in a few days.
And this
I'm
is a
gonna-
soap.
Unsolicited. No,
This is a soap, right?
No,
What
this
is
is
this?
a concentrate. This is deviant dabs, and this is concentrated cannabis, what you call shatter.
Okay.
So you take the flower, which is the bud, which people know of. So this is from Farm Aid Farms, another
Oh, that's
great.
cute.
Natalie, you
another
liking this
great
stuff?
Yeah.
That's
we missed this
So,
gifting suite.
This is actually a cannabis flower, right? A little bit of marijuana,
right.
you see. And the leaves all been trimmed off this.
So pretty and fuzzy.
And so the concentrate is, they have a process. You want to talk about the concentrate process there, young
You
man?
got it, man.
They make a concentrate product, and it looks like that.
I know a lot of people who love that.
And you need a specific rig to smoke this stuff, and it kind of vaporizes it.
oh wow.
So yeah, we got a lot of great, there's a lot of great cannabis companies out there that are trying to assimilate to the mainstream. And through the Celebrity Connecting event, we put a lot of those people in touch with some people the celebrities that could help them get the name of their brand out there. That's the Garden
Explain
Society.
this. Yeah, what
That's
is
this is chocolate from a company called the Garden Society, and it's there's 8 little individual squares of medicated chocolate.
I'm
in
finding
here.
a
Oh,
lot
he's
of
gonna
women.
show it to
A
me.
lot of
Oh.
women are
Bliss
liking the
blossoms.
chocolate.
I love the
So
chocolate.
they're very well. It's very eloquently wrapped, and it's very pretty looking
adorable.
chocolate. And this is 80 milligrams of combined cannabis.
Natalie's eyes.
In
So
10,
cute.
I'm in love right now.
This is
I'm
in
in
10
love.
milligram doses. So anyone could take one of these, and you probably can eat it all and be okay. But you might want to chew it in half, and then wait a half hour, 45 minutes to see what happens. So we don't have what happened to my mom. And then.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you
Yeah,
weren't
he
here for
was
that story.
telling
yet.
that. It was
So
so
anyway, I would suggest when you're trying, if you never had any experience with cannabis and you're trying an edible, start very slowly. No one's ever died from a cannabis overdose. So if you start feeling a little strange, your pulse starts quickening,
Don't
that's
freak
normal.
out. Yeah.
So the Grateful Dead, God bless them, it's Jerry Garcia's birthday today. Love you, Jerry.
Yeah.
Happy
If you
birthday.
get confused, listen to the music play.
Ah.
And that's kind of talking about hallucinogenics, and cannabis isn't hallucinogenic. So when you have a head full of
Yeah, I've definitely
hallucinogens,
seen some
and you're
girls
starting to
after
feel a
too
little
much.
paranoid, paranoid, or just listen to the music and let what what you're experiencing take you wherever it's going to take you. But starting small with your edibles is the ticket, 10 to 20 milligrams.
These are peanut butter cups.
Those are exquisite. They're from Derby Bakery in Northern California.
This is the best box I've ever
Very
seen.
creamy and beautiful.
Yeah.
Chocolate cream. This is like a girl's
Anyone
dream.
like one of these?
It's awesome.
10 milligram dose? Or
Yeah, sure.
Sure, feel free.
Wow.
Now here's the whole thing about this is that there's a lot of people lining up. It's just
I don't like
elegant the way they do all the things on this, which is great.
Would you like to try one?
Yes, please.
Brian?
No, I might trip out.
Okay.
No, I'm only kidding.
You sound like my buddy with Crohn's disease.
Yes, exactly.
So I told him, I wanted to tell him, you know what, John, just stop being such a baby and enjoy the hallucinogenics. And I tried to tell him that. He's like,
They're
no, bro, you
delicious.
don't understand. I said, okay.
Good.
I do understand, and I understand. I'm happy you're trying it. So just soften up your dosage. And I just told him the same thing. If you,
It comes down to
Those are
just go
really
with it.
delicious,
Just go
right?
with it.
I like this kind of
Oh
chocolate.
my God,
Liz
yes,
Blossom.
those are
Yeah.
It's like better than some like chocolate you just buy.
No, it's
like,
good
Yeah,
stuff.
just regular Walmart chocolate. This is
Yeah,
way better.
I didn't mean to leave out
Godiva.
Canapa Bakery. Canapa had these minis. These are they won an award. They're cocoa.
I heard
almonds.
people like that a lot.
Everyone liked everything in this box. It was pretty amazing.
Now, the good thing about this, I give credit to Brad. He'll be walking around and I'm like, hey, Brad, how you doing? I think I'm doing good. But everybody loves this product, and they love it when Jean has it and Diana has it at Celebrity Connected because people love going over the lines.
I know.
The
How long
lines
did we
that
talk
they-
about them having that? Because
There's nothing better than free weed.
yeah, nothing.
It tops free
But-
food.
but I'm-
which
but-
is like crazy.
But for me, it's,
We like
it's
free
about
weed.
the presentation because everything is done legal. I like that. The
Well,
chef
what
is there,
I think he
the
means by
doctor
that is
there.
weed is now recreational. Our last event, we still had a doctor there. We believe in Prop 215, and even though cannabis is legal, I got $300 worth of cannabis products in that box. I got 200 of those boxes. I can't legally hand those to everybody within my possession.
Right.
So we just operate under Prop 215, which is true and tried law. We are cannabis patients at Cannabis Planet. Chef Mike's a cannabis patient. I'm a cannabis patient. So we work with a collective to distribute the product. And every celebrity that received one of our medicine chests, we had them actually meet with a physical doctor that
Right.
we provided that was on site. They got a complimentary recommendation. And now they were legal cannabis patients. And then
Everything
we
was
gave
done
them
the
their
correct
medicine
way.
chest.
I
Everything
didn't
was
miss
done
it.
the correct. I didn't miss it.
Great.
We've
That's
done
why
it 3
Brad
times.
did it.
We've
Yeah.
done it 3 times.
That's great.
There'll be another
I'm gonna
one.
blame it on him for not telling me.
Uh-oh. You in trouble
But
now.
all right. So when it comes to marijuana in movies, marijuana in films, favorite film when someone's smoking.
Well, I
Oh my
watched
God,
Pineapple
MacGruber.
You better not pick mine.
MacGruber.
Pineapple.
Oh,
It was
that's-
amazing. When did
Yeah,
they,
that's a
is
good
that-
one.
When did they smoke in MacGruber?
Well, they don't smoke, but I love watching it when I smoke.
That
Man,
counts.
what
That
is Gruber?
counts.
I don't even know what that is.
MacGruber?
Yeah, it's
Oh
a
my gosh,
movie?
it's amazing. Yeah, it's hysterical. Val Kilmer, Ryan
Told you I
Felipe,
don't watch movies, man.
Will
Based on an
Forte,
SNL sketch too.
Okay.
Kristen Wiig. It's got a good.
Everybody's
Yeah,
in
it's great.
Chris, you mentioned what?
Oh, I watched Pineapple Express yesterday.
Oh,
and
God, I love
has
that
Lots
movie.
of smoking in it. That's why.
I love that movie. It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Danny
Yeah.
McBride's kind of star got launched in that one.
Yep. Lucretia.
I'm really old, so I like Dazed and Confused because I was always dazed and confused watching
Richard
it, and
Linklater.
it's hilarious.
Richard
Yeah.
Linklater. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I think of Sausage Party.
Oh,
my
oh, that
See,
movie
I
was
like,
a
I like to
trip.
just sit around and watch like
yeah.
Twilight Zone marathons and stuff.
Oh, that's great.
You know, forget movies. I wanted to
great.
get baked and watch Twilight
Yeah.
Zone marathon.
Or
maybe,
if-
maybe a Get Smart marathon.
Have you ever done nature time lapse videos?
Suddenly.
Oh,
I like to play skateboarding games when I like to play skateboarding games.
Where's the weirdest place you guys have ever smoked?
I smoke every place I go.
Yeah.
I'm kind of putting my mark. So I've smoked
So
at.
you like the dog that goes.
I've smoked at the absolutely. I've smoked at the White House. I've smoked at the Jefferson Memorial.
Yeah, you got a great place.
I've smoked at Bunker Hill.
You can't top the White
I've
House.
smoked in the long. I've smoked in the Longhouse at Bunker Hill, where they were like, the revolution was started. I've smoked everywhere.
like pretty cool.
I've
That's
smoked. I've
amazing.
smoked in NFL football stadiums on the sideline. I smoke everywhere I can that's taboo.
That's pretty cool.
Now, bear in mind, I don't have a lit joint. I have my glass pot. I have my piece,
Yeah.
and I have my cannabis, and I ingest one hit of cannabis into my lungs, and then I go about. I also like Is the TSA going to be watching this? I like to I like to fly with my cannabis.
You never know.
I've been known to take a hit in the airport. I pride myself on smoking cannabis in unique places.
Next time you go, you're getting checked. I'm just
yeah,
telling you.
right. Yeah, exactly. They won't give me my passport.
Sir, would you step over here, please?
So and it's the thing is, it's like back to the whole thing. There's a smoking area in the airport. Why can't people smoke cannabis before they get on the plane? I smoke cannabis because I like how it makes me feel, and for my anxiety and my ADHD. Yeah. So if I'm feeling a little anxious about having to be a piece of cattle tromping through that whole airport and this and that, it's like, boy,
it is stressful.
I like a little lungful of cannabis to make me feel better. Yeah. And that's all it takes. One lungful of cannabis.
All right, Natalie, favorite song to get high to?
Oh, well, it's probably, I'll listen to some Bob Marley radio.
Okay.
Oh, we're talking Pandora?
Yeah.
Sure, nice.
Yeah.
Who doesn't like Bob Marley radio?
Who doesn't?
Lately it's been Moana.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
That's what it's been. It's been a lot of Lin-Manuel Miranda for the last 6 months in general, but lately it's been Moana.
Brad's trying to think of
music
one.
and cannabis go hand in hand. My brother, there's a joke in my family, and my brother likes to say it. Are you high? And he said, "Are you awake?" So I like all music. I like to listen to music when I like to be under the influence of cannabis sometimes with music. Grateful Dead, I'm a Deadhead.
Wow.
And so I think the Grateful Dead and cannabis, kind of like peanut butter and jelly. Mm-hmm. And I actually had the pleasure of interviewing Oteil Burbridge, who is the new bassist for Dead & Company, was a longtime Allman Brothers bassist, and we got to interview him for the show, and that was a real treat. And we talked about how cannabis had affected his life as a musician, and it influenced him in terms of creativity and some stuff like that. So that was a pretty neat conversation to have.
Lucretia?
Well,
she's been turning me on to a lot of block music that I don't even know. I feel bad.
Well, for me, I've been getting high since I was 9. So, but I love Pink Floyd. I really love Pink Floyd and expect.
That's a good call.
No, yeah.
That's good for eclipse watching music.
I don't know about when I was 9 now, but when I got a little bit older.
Now.
Yeah.
Roger Waters was just in L.A. He did an amazing
really?
show. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Fantastic, and I was very high.
Right? That's how you gotta do it.
All right, so I know a lot of people in the fitness world, and Brett Bauer was going to be here to talk about her anxiety going into fitness. What I did not know is that a lot of people from the fitness world, before they got into working out, suffered from all these things: depression, anxiety, eating disorder, depression, all that stuff, which is why I went into fitness. I had no idea that they would chill out to become smoker, because that didn't leave you. I did not know that. And that's interesting. So there's many different elements out there where people are doing many things in those areas, like you were talking about. You can be a Republican and go work out, and you had a stressful day, and you're going to be behind the closed doors doing whatever you're doing behind closed doors.
The founding fathers, the Declaration of Independence was written on hemp paper. That's, again, fact.
Absolutely.
Betsy Ross's first American flag, hemp.
Uh-huh.
Old Ironsides, was run on hemp, the sails, the ropes, the War of 1812. It's our history as humans. So it just needs to be re-embraced, and everyone needs to educate themselves about it, incorporate it in their lives. And, look at poor John McCain. People want to take shots at the guy. I don't agree with John McCain's politics, but I respect him as an American. I respect him as a serviceman. I respect him as a guy who was a POW and fought for our country. So you look at a guy like John McCain, if we lived in I wonder what my life would be like. Imagine if we lived in a world where we were not punished for wanting to use the cannabis plant and it was embraced. Holy Toledo. So if cannabis had been embraced and we researched the medicinal properties of the plant, maybe John McCain would have been, utilizing that and would never have gotten brain cancer.
Educate to appreciate.
And I'm not saying he would or wouldn't have, so I don't want to mean to be hyperbolic. But there's a case in point of a guy in Washington that had a hard-on for the plant, and there's a lot of them, not just him. And whether that was politically motivated over the drug scare and the moral fabric of our society, or who knows. And Lester Grinspoon is another great example of a cannabis pioneer. Dr. Grinspoon was a Harvard psychiatrist who just became famous with his lithium work. And he was best friends with Carl Sagan. And Carl Sagan was trying to get Lester turned on to weed, and Dr. Grinspoon told him, Carl, weed is ruining the moral fabric of the student body at Harvard. So they got in this argument about it, and Lester now just kind of chuckles, oh, that was an argument that Carl won. So he goes into the library to write an anti-cannabis book, and he comes out 6 months later and is like, holy crap, Brad, I was brainwashed, just like the rest of the society. It's like it's not a harmful plant, it's non-toxic. In fact, it's a would-be wonder drug. So it's just about getting the research done and undoing undoing the greed of the original money trail of prohibition. So it's easier said than done, I suppose, but boy, that tipping point, I mean, if there is ever such thing as a tipping point, we're almost there. Yeah. But the sad part is, again, everyone's clamoring around over the greed of how they can capitalize and cash in on the plant, and that's where the log jam is happening right now, in my humble estimation.
What do you think about the fact that they don't always take, when they're talking about this, publicly, they don't always take into account what people add to cannabis? You got a lot of people, they'll smoke some weed and then they'll drink a bottle of rum. I mean, their actions are obviously going to be different. Sure, but a lot of times it gets blamed on the marijuana.
Well, sure. I mean, it's that's the whole thing too. I mean, it's social. Cannabis or all drug use, in my opinion, should be looked at as a social health issue, not as breaking the law, morality scenario. The morality police, my body, I'll put what I want in my body. Right. So I'm not, advocating, operating heavy machinery and driving cars under the influence of these things, but what you do in the privacy of your own home should be what you do in the privacy of your own home. So when people mix different substances, everyone's going to be, everyone's going to react differently. So when people are on certain drug or substance, and then they use, like alcohol, people use alcohol and cannabis together. So you see them acting erratic.
It becomes about being responsible for yourself. My guess is it's the alcohol that's
outside the equation, not the thing. Yeah. So it's about being responsible for yourself. Precisely.
It was called the Pied Pipers of Pot. Imagine Bob Dylan turning pot on to the Beatles, which is what he did. Louis Armstrong was smoking. One of my favorite musicians was Rick James. All his songs were about getting high. High on your love seat, super freak, hard to get. And then you get into the sex aspects. Pot with sex go hand in hand, just like music and movies. But he's quiet. Thought so.
No, I mean, haven't you heard of that product, Foria? I mean, you should have the Foria girls on. I personally think that cannabis isn't, that cannabis is an aphrodisiac, or as Dr. Grinspoon calls it, the great enhancer. So when I'm interviewing a guy who is, now he's 89, but I guess he was like 84 years old, 85 years old, and he didn't try cannabis until he was 36 or 7, and he's talking about cannabis enhancing his sex life, there's probably something to it.
Right.
I want to ask Natalie.
I haven't tried it, but I'm sure it does.
Chris?
You never had sex while you were high?
Sure.
No.
Wow.
Yeah. Sex, good.
Not on purpose. Not on purpose. My sex life has just been really boring.
There's still a lot of life left to be lived.
Lucretia?
Well, I mean, sex is fantastic regardless. I mean, you're talking about health effects. It's wonderful. But everything's better with weed. Come on. Okay. Everything.
And they do have this. Are you familiar with this? Are you familiar with this product, Foria? Girls, have you heard of this?
No, I have not.
I've heard of it, but
there's Foria, and then there's another product which I don't know the name of, and it's a mist, and you spray it on your female genitalia, and it gives you enhancement.
That's pretty freaking sweet. That's
interesting.
Sweet.
Tell Gene to get them at the gifting store.
Well, I was going to say, where do you get them? Where is this?
They're out there. Foria.
All right. Last word. What do you got coming up and website?
Coming up, Chris and I are going to Hagerstown, Maryland for an appearance in September. So
cool.
We'll be there. And just check out the website, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, nataliesky.com. Got all the.
I just got it.
Brad just got who Chris
Delayed reaction there.
Better late than never. I'm not high. I'm just not the most observant sometimes.
Chris?
I'm also much sexier now than I was then. So. I've got 2 dogs. I put pictures of them on Instagram. And I think, that's what's happening, man.
Okay.
I got nothing else to talk about.
Brad, you're talking about real quickly about directing your film.
Well, my film's not. I'm producing a documentary film about the University of the Pacific's much storied and little known football program. It's got a very rich tradition. They don't have a team anymore. They tore their stadium down.
And I saw the trailer that he put together. Excellent.
But thank you. There's a lot of NFL coaches that have come through that little small institution, University of Pacific, such as Pete Carroll, Tom Flores. Yep. So it's I'm working on that film, and on the cannabis world, we're coming back to broadcast TV in the fall, Saturday, September 30th, or October 1st, Sunday, depending on where you live. Because for instance, in Vegas, we're just going on Sundays. Other markets will be Saturday and Sunday. So we have 13 new episodes, all about cannabis information and education, and we encourage everybody to tune in. And you can also catch us online, cannabisplanet.com.
Lucretia?
I'm going to be with you, Brian.
This is true.
Some more.
She walks out the door
Some
and
more.
everybody starts following her.
Suddenly.
You know,
Just 5 or 6. I don't know what.
Movie releases this week. Dark Tower coming out with Matt McConaughey.
Nice.
Kidnap with Halle Berry opening. And Detroit, the riots in Detroit. That should be very, very interesting. Oh, and our sponsors. Want to thank Ting Tao Beer, which I really, really love, and my friend Maxine Albright's Relationships in a Nutshell. We will see you next week. Have fun out there. I hope you like movie reviews and more. Subscribe to us. YouTube.com/movie reviews, the letter N more. And we will see you soon at the movies. And thank everybody for being here. It was fun. It was very, very inspiring. And we will see what happens.
Thanks for having us.
You're listening to Movie Reviews and More with Brian Sebastian, only on LA Talk Radio.